Welcome to the 12 Days of Christmas, where we look at the characters that take place in the Christmas story. And I just want to take a moment and look with you at the shepherds, and we read their story in Luke chapter 2. In fact, I'll pick up the reading there at verse 8. And in the same region there were shepherds in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And an angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were filled with great fear. And the angel said to them, "Fear not, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all people." Jumping to verse 15, when the angels went away from them into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go over to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has made known to us." And they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the baby lying in a manger. And when they saw it, they made known the saying that had been told them concerning this child. Now there's three words I want you to think about regarding the shepherds. They are the word watch, believe, and respond. And these words give us great applications in our own life. Think with me about the word watch. It says in verse 8 that the shepherds were keeping watch over their flock by night. Now the word watch means to keep guard. It means that the shepherds were attentive. New lambs were vulnerable to predators. There's an attentiveness to a night watchman, for instance. He's even more attentive at night, and these shepherds were keeping watch over their flocks by night. It was into their faithful service that the angels came with a message, and so it's easily to get distracted in the Christmas time, especially looking around. I just want to remind us again that we want to be watching for the opportunities that God would be presenting for us at Christmas time. It's easy to get wrapped up, but we want to look and watch for the opportunities to be the feet and hands of Jesus. Now, the second word that we want to look at is the word believe. And we actually find that message, before it's actually presented in Luke chapter 2, that we are to believe, we find there a precursor to that belief in verse 10. For the angel said to them, "Fear not, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all people." To believe, when it says they were afraid, means that this is a message that is way out of the ordinary. In other words, it's a message that's hard to believe. But it's not only a message that's hard to believe, it's a message that's filled with good news. In fact, that's what the text says. It's the good news. It's the word we get Evangelions azamai from. It's the word that we get evangelism from. It's a message that is not only to be believed, but it is to be shared. And finally, note that the text speaks of a great joy, that they should have this great joy. And I love that word. The great is the word mega. They were to have a mega joy. Now, those are just the precursors to believe. It was a message that was hard to believe. It was a message filled with good news, and it was a message that would bring great joy. But notice the message themselves that they are to believe. Verse 11 of Luke chapter 2. "For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is Christ the Lord." Notice some things about that message that were to be believed. He was a Savior. They knew that when they went to see him, he was the one that would save them from their sins. He was born in the city of David. That's the city of the King David, that King David was born in. He was not only the Savior, therefore, this baby that they would see was the King of Kings. And the text goes on to say he is Christ the Lord. He is the Messiah. The Greek rendering for the word Messiah is the word we get Christ from, or Christos. He is the Messiah. He is the Lord of Lords. This is the message to be believed. He is a Savior. He's the King of Kings. He's the Lord of Lords. But note this final thought. He wasn't only all of that, but he was available. He was available to blue-collar workers on the night shift. That's when they could see him. And they could recognize him, the text said, because he would be wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. Now remember these three words. They were to watch, they were to believe, they were to respond. And I love that. They responded on their belief. And you know that because first they come to see this baby for themselves. They made it personal. They didn't say, "I know somebody who knew him." they actually engaged, taking their steps to Bethlehem as an act of faith. Secondly, we are told in the text that they told others about him. They couldn't keep the story to themselves. They kept telling others about him. They not only wondered, but others marveled at what the shepherds told them. And then one final thought there. When they left, the text says, after they were telling others, they were glorifying God. They worshiped God as a result of what they believed. Wow, an amazing reminder for us from these shepherds who were in the fields right outside of Bethlehem and are injected into the Christmas story. Blue-collar workers on the night shift who got invited to worship Christ. They watched, they believed, they responded. They were watching attentively, they believed wholeheartedly, and watch this, they responded immediately. The text says they came in haste.